Good evening, everybody. How you doing tonight? Welcome to the North Carolina Cryptid and Paranormal Project. My name is Tom, and I'll be your host for the night. And welcome, and thanks for coming. So we have a guest. His name's Jonathan Childers, and I'm going to bring him in right now. And after a long little vacation, I'm back, and it feels good to be back. So glad to see you all tonight. Hey, John.
Hey, how you doing?
All right, what's going on, man?
Oh, just going to tell my experiences and my brothers and my son's experiences. Really, my whole family.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. The stuff you told me. And what state are you live in? So everybody knows,
I
the
live in
activity.
Ohio.
Home of the Grass Man, and the what else is there? The Germantown Werewolf as well.
I've never heard of that one.
No, that was pretty popular, like in the mid '80s, early
Oh
'90s.
yeah.
A lot of
Well,
reports on it. Yeah, if you look up
right.
Jody Cook, he did a lot of research on that
Yeah,
for
he's a friend
NADP.
on Facebook.
Yeah, he does a lot of that NADP research for. He did a whole report on the Germantown werewolf, and it's pretty interesting. I mean, the stuff was going on. You know, a lot of that stuff is just it's insane with these dog men. I mean, I don't do a whole lot with the dog man. I'm mainly Sasquatch. But I mean, they're
Yeah,
everywhere. They're coming
that
around.
freaked me out when he
Oh
found
yeah.
that baboon skull.
Oh yeah. That was the coyote guy, wasn't it? A coyote. Coyote something.
I don't know.
It's a different. I
I
think
don't
there's a
know.
YouTube channel.
It was on one of the Sasquatch shows that I can't remember the name of the show. It was something to do with Sasquatch, the Grass Man of Ohio.
Yeah.
They had a whole show on it, and he was on it. I don't know. I don't know. He found the skull, didn't he?
Oh, you're talking about Jody Cook.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's old. Yeah, there's somebody just came out. Coyote Peterson just came out and claims he found a Sasquatch skull in British Columbia and he smuggled it
Hmm.
back. And a lot of people are saying that's kind of like a hoax or something. I don't know. I didn't really do a lot of follow up on that story, but a lot of people are saying, yeah, Brian saying the skull was a fake. I think it was kind of like an exploitation to get views and this and that. So
Could have
yeah,
been. Yeah. Yeah. That's what spoils the real experiences that people have with them.
exactly. Hey, everybody in the chat.
I found a hand and a forearm in southern Ohio, close to New Straitsville, Ohio.
Yeah, we need to get into that story real quick. If you want to go talk about that, what you found, because that's pretty freaking interesting.
Yeah, we were scouting for deer, and it was right at the edge of like a real brushy, and I mean there were so many briars you could not walk through them. Ain't no way you could walk through them. And they were like 10 foot tall, and it was there was a fence going down through them, and that's the only way that you could get through there a little bit. You couldn't even get through there all the way, and that's where I found it. It was tangled up in a barbed wire fence. Like I don't know how it got tangled up, but I'm telling you, it was like part of the forearm and the hand had hog as hair as coarse as a hog's hair. And then as you got further up on the arm, it got a little less coarse, but it was thick. It was thick,
Wow.
and it looked like it had broke it off and ripped the skin so that it could get out of that. And it was about the size of my hand. Yeah. And we
Wow.
took it back up to the camp, and my mother and dad were out ginseng hunting, and me and my brother were scouting for deer because it was just at the edge of bow season. And so when they got back, I showed my dad, and I said, "Dad, I want to take this to Ohio State University and get it checked." He said, "Absolutely not. You take that back where you found it because the mother might come back looking for it." So apparently he knew all about Sasquatch. And to come to find out that my great grandmother had ran into a Sasquatch in West Virginia. And my grandmother seen it. That it was my great grandmother ran into it, and she had the kids with her picking raspberries. And they had walked around a rock cliff, and there he sat on a rock eating a raw rabbit.
Wow.
That was my grandmother. Now, all these generations, there's something funny about that. It kind of freaks me out because my son has had one whistle at him, and he had a deer run up to him. He was standing by a tree bow hunting. They cleared a spot out where they wouldn't make any noise around the bottom of the tree. And he's standing there, and that doe, a big doe, run right up to him after he heard the whistle first. Then he heard something coming, and it was, here it come, a deer. And it stopped by him, and he looked at it, and the deer looked at him, and it stayed by him for quite a while, he said. And he also found, he said it looked like a nest. And he had also saw where something had broken off 2 trees about the size of fence posts.
Really?
Broken them, pulled them out of the ground, and broke them off and stuck it back down in the ground upside down. And he thought that it might be a burial spot. I don't know.
A burial spot, huh?
That's what he thought. I don't know.
That's,
I didn't get to
that's
see
possible.
it, but I know exactly where he's talking about. And his stepdad owned the property. Now his brother owns it. So I can, I can go right in there anytime.
So is this like Southeast Ohio area?
It's in Adams County. It's
Okay.
Adams County, Ohio. Now, where I found the hand was in Hocking County in the Wayne National Forest.
Okay.
And that's a big forest. You just don't find a hairy hand tangled in a fence. You just don't find that in a national forest. You don't find that hardly at all. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked and scared. After my dad told me to take it back, that the mother might come back after it. So he must have knew something, but he didn't talk too much about it.
Yeah, he knew something if he was telling you to put it back, and the mother might be looking for it because he knew that it was
he didn't want to
probably
follow him home. That's what I think.
They follow you home, and they might come for you.
Right. He didn't want it following him home.
Well, it was a smart decision. I mean, who knows what could have happened if you did take it home.
Right. But if I could have just had just some hair off that hand, I wasn't, I was only 15. It was in 78 or 77. And I wasn't thinking about, they didn't have DNA there then anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
You thought it was a monkey hand or something, right? You didn't know what the heck it was.
Right. But who's got a monkey out in the middle of a national forest in Ohio?
Yeah.
That's not, no. Maybe Florida.
Yeah, maybe Florida.
But not Ohio. Right. And also one morning, go ahead. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, you're fine. Did the hand smell? Steve was asking a question in the chat. Do you remember the smell of it?
Nope, it didn't have a smell because it had looked like it had been there a while.
Okay.
But the fingers were all there.
Right.
And and the skin was still on it. But you could see where it was ripped, like it was ripped off. Broken, the arm was broken, and the hand the skin looked like it was ripped, like an animal will do when it's in a trap. See, if you trap an animal and it can't get out, if it's got time, it will chew its own hand off to get out of that trap.
Yeah, they'll chew their own hand off just to get out of that trap if they're stuck because they don't want to get, what's going to happen afterwards. Yep. So they know that instinct. That's wild.
Yep.
So it was about what? From, human size from, one side to here, from your fingers to your forearm?
It was about that much of it. It had its hand and about that much of its forearm.
Mm.
and it looked like a human hand with coarse hair. There's a lot of hair on the hand, but it's coarse. But the hair on the hand was thinner than the hair on the wrist and the arm. And it wasn't near as coarse on the forearm.
Right.
Then one morning, me and my brother were going into the same holler I found the hand in. It was just further in the hollow. We were going down in there on a road that they had made for oil wells. So Southern Ohio has a lot of oil wells, and I heard something hollering, just cutting an awful shine. My brother started hollering at me, and then all of a sudden, I heard something coming around the hill at me. It sounded like my brother was running at me. So I stepped out from behind the tree I was standing at, and ever what it was, when I did that, it took all, it veered off and went on down in a deeper hollow, and it scared him to death. He was right. We had forgot our flashlights at the truck, but we knew the area so well that we could go in the dark. And nobody else is allowed on their property, and it's surrounded by Wayne National Forest.
Right.
And so we were going in without our flashlights because we had forgot them at the truck. And we wish we would have took those, because my brother was flicking his lighter. he looked comical with flicking that lighter, and he had a shotgun and a bow with him. Scared him to death.
Well,
and it freaked me out.
You said in Ohio you can't use a high power rifle. You can only use a shotgun, right? As a weapon.
Right.
Okay.
Right. But he took the shotgun with him to squirrel hunt with. He was bow hunting for deer and took the shotgun with him to bow hunt with.
Gotcha. That's pretty wild. And he heard that thing, cuffing through.
It was just getting it down through there, coming right at me at first, and I stepped out from behind that tree. But my brother got the biggest scare. He would have. You might want to interview him too, because he's had experiences. There's more than that. I've seen stick structures, and I thought it was somebody doing that. I didn't know they did that. Stick structures. We've seen. My son found a nest. Yeah. Had deer run up to him. That's not natural.
No. What did the stick structures kind of look like?
Well, it was like they had a teepee like type thing.
Yeah.
And I thought somebody was doing it. I didn't know they did that.
Stacked up.
That was back before any of this new information was around. And I thought, well, who's been out in the middle of the woods making them little things like that? Are they trying to make a hunting blind? If they are, they sure don't know how to make one. That's what I used to think.
Yeah.
Well,
they're masters of that. And Steve has a question. It says, was the woods silent at that moment before you heard that crashing through?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Before daylight. There wasn't nothing stirring. Just as quiet as could be. Yeah, dead quiet. Yep.
That's the other thing too. Everything gets real quiet before something's about to start. It's like if you're a hunter, in the woods, you'll hear you'll hear the birds chirping, you'll hear like crickets, you'll hear whatever, and then all of a sudden it gets dead quiet. It's like something's that's a predator.
Yeah. Well, even when a deer, I've noticed that the birds will get quiet even when a deer comes up close to you.
Yeah, that's true.
That they'll even just quit chirping or anything, and then all of a sudden you see a deer. I've had that happen lots of times. A lot of times that's the way I know a deer is near me.
Yeah, because it gets.
And
quiet.
I've also heard the wood knocks, and I thought it was nuts falling out of the tree, hitting a tree. But it wasn't. Now that I think about it, but there's a lot of things that I've thought about that has happened in the woods with me and my brother and my son, and we've all been thinking about all this stuff. And somebody's got to know about it. You know, there's Sasquatch in southern Ohio.
Oh, absolutely.
My son is a wholehearted believer too. He don't like to even talk about it.
Right.
You can't even hardly get him to talk about it.
A lot of people don't like to talk about it. They worry about ridicule or, whatever.
I was in one group, and that's all they did was call me a liar.
Yeah.
So I got out of that group. I was in there for a few hours, and I just got tired of being ridiculed and left.
Yeah, sadly,
I ain't making no money at this. I know you ain't making no money either. Why lie about something like that?
Yeah.
And why would my grandmother lie about something like that? She wouldn't.
She was passing on tales from what she's seen, and telling the rest of her kin that what to look out for out in the woods.
She believed in them, and we never did when we were growing up. My dad never did mention anything like that, and I guess he didn't want us to be scared to go in the woods.
Yeah. They never told you like watch out for the booger or the boogeyman or.
No, he never told me to watch out for Bigfoot. They didn't know what it was called back then. They called it the wild man.
Wild man, catamount, haint, all that. There's all kinds of names for that. Hairy man.
Yep.
There's a question in the chat asking what the nest looked like from what you remember. Do you remember what?
I didn't get to see it. My son did.
Oh, your son did.
So you may want to interview him and my brother because they have seen and heard things.
Got your brother right here.
Oh, do you?
Welcome, Jeff.
There he is.
Yeah, I didn't know. Hey, how you doing, buddy? I didn't know if I was supposed to come on right now or not.
No, you're good.
Now, let me put my glasses on so I can see, man. Stuff's getting old.
He's blind like me.
Yeah. How you doing, man?
What's going on, sir? I heard you had some experiences, and your brother said you wouldn't mind talking about them. So let's hear it.
Yeah, man. And shoot, we was in southern Ohio. They call it Gore, ain't it, Johnny? New Straitsville.
Yeah, Wayne National Forest. Yep.
Yeah.
Wayne National Forest.
Yeah. And I'd forgot my flashlight that morning, man. I was went bow hunting. I had my crossbow. I tell you what I done. I took my shotgun with me. I was gonna hide my shotgun underneath a log. Bow hunting about 10 o'clock, then kill some squirrels. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
the moon was out real bright, man. I could see the path going down the hill to go into the woods.
That road, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I smoked cigarettes, but I had my cigarette lighter, and I'd flick my lighter, make sure I was, on the path going to my stand because it was pitch dark blackout.
Right.
And as soon as I got into the woods, man, something started snapping its teeth, like har 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 har, and man, it sounded like a elephant run down through the woods. And I took my lighter and I was going, yeah. I scared the daylights out of me, man. Scared me to death. And I was flicking my lighter like that, going, yeah. And I got finally, it ran down the hill and I didn't hear it going up through the woods no more. I got up my stand, and then when about 10 o'clock, I come back down, man, and I was looking for a path going down the hill. I was thinking, Lord have mercy, something has to made a path going down through there, as much noise and stuff as it made. Man, I couldn't find nothing. There wasn't no leaves kicked up. I didn't see any deer that morning. There wasn't no squirrels out that morning. Nothing. And I don't know what it was. And he hollered at me. He was like, I don't know, quarter mile away from me over on another mountain or another hillside. And he said, did you hear that? And I said, it's right beside me. I don't know what it was, man. I don't know what it was.
You weren't in the stand. You were on the ground hunting?
No, I was on the ground going to my stand. I had my climber on my back.
Yeah.
No, I take that back. I left my climber in the woods because I was already down there, and I was going too much climber. You know,
Okay.
a tree climber. I
Yeah.
left it on the tree that evening, and because we stayed all night, and man, I don't know what it was. And then, but way before that happened, we was just little kids, man. Mom and Dad would always take us down there, and Dad would camp out, and we'd just run the woods, man. You know, just like little, kids do.
Right.
And we found something, man. It looked like an arm, looked like half of an arm. It was like from its elbow to the wrist, right in the middle. And it looked like almost like a little kid's hand, man. I swear it did. It had hair on its knuckles. It's hairy, but it was the palm of its hand was real smooth, real
Mhm.
smooth. We showed it to my dad. He made us get rid of he made us get rid of it. And then I tell you, after that, he wouldn't go in the woods, man, until after daylight. He would never go back in the woods until it was daylight outside when he went in the woods, and when he come out of the woods, it was daylight. He was like he was scared of something, but he wouldn't tell us nothing. He wouldn't say nothing about it. And you know them tree structures? I didn't know anything about how Bigfoot makes his stuff. You know what I mean? Like tree structures and stuff. I found them, gobs of them, all kinds of them down there, and we thought it was bow hunters making them. We thought somebody made a ground blind to get behind it and bow hunt. We didn't know anything about TPs and TP structures and
Bends, break,
yeah,
X's.
man. And it was most of it was all state land too, wasn't it, Johnny?
Yes, just a small 40 acres was private.
It was it was pretty neat, man.
That's pretty damn interesting. I mean, y'all got some. You could probably talk forever about stuff y'all have been through, seen in the woods, or heard, encountered. I mean, I had very similar to you, Jeff. I was going in my backyard hunting one time, and I dropped my flashlight when I was climbing I have a homemade tree stand. Dropped my flashlight going up, and I was like, I'll get it later. And 5 minutes as I get up in a tree, I start hearing monkey chatter going, whoa, whoa, back and forth, back and forth. And it was pitch black, and I couldn't do nothing. All I had was my crossbow, my 380 in my pocket, and I just stood up. I was, listen, I want no trouble. Just let me hunt, and I'll leave you alone. And 5 minutes later, it was quiet. Light came out, and I got the hell out of that tree, and I didn't go in the woods for about 3 months. And then I didn't,
like you hear the tree knocks and stuff.
We heard a lot of those
all the time down there, but we always thought it was like acorns or something hitting the trees. You know, but some of them would sound like almost like a baseball hitting a baseball bat.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. The echo of a baseball bat hitting the tree.
We didn't know nothing about stuff. Yeah, we didn't know nothing about Bigfoot and stuff like that, man. We just, especially me, Johnny. Now he's a little older than me, so he watched the shows and all that. But we didn't know anything about it. And then I started paying attention to these shows, man, and I get to thinking, man, I've seen all kinds of stuff like this down where we deer hunted.
Yep.
Whatever that was in that woods that day, man. I don't know what it was. I didn't see it, wasn't it? But it deer stand on me, man. I got cold chills all over me, just like if I'd seen a ghost or something. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you get that chill. The hair on your neck stands back up, and you get them.
Oh man, yeah.
I'm glad I wasn't close to it.
Yeah,
because I would have been running. Man.
Oh yeah, yeah. But
I like your guys' encounter. I mean, like you said, I didn't go in the woods for 3 months, and it took me. After that 3 months, I went back in the woods. I wouldn't go into the woods at dark. I waited for the sun to come up, or for at least I could see in the woods, and that's when I would start going in on my own. And after that, the next season, I started going in at dark again, and I made sure I had a flashlight. I had my 9mm. I had all kinds of pistols on me, crossbow, lights galore. Wasn't gonna, just to be safe, because for me, it kind of gave me that assurance. I wasn't going to try to shoot one of these things, but just to feel better to go in the woods. What I had on.
We would take a flashlight religiously. I would put one in my gun case just so I wouldn't forget one. Just that morning, something I forgot my flashlight, man, and I didn't. And all I had was a cigarette lighter, and it don't make very much light.
No, and
Whatever it was, scared the daylights out of me, man. I know.
there's a question in the chat. Have you guys ever seen stacked stones in the woods, like stacked up
Yeah.
stone piles?
I have. Yep.
I had a
Yes, I have.
rock thrown at me one night down by Darby Creek. I don't know if you was with me or not, Jeff. Fishing
was it?
the rock. Somebody throwed a rock in the. Well, I thought somebody did, and I ran across the bridge and over there to see who it was, and there wasn't nobody there.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
yeah, I wasn't with you that night. But yeah,
So,
I've heard some scary and what you were talking about, something like a monkey, sound like a monkey. I heard something that sounded like somebody was chattering, like people talking, but I couldn't understand what they were saying. Yeah, it was like a foreign language, and they was just chattering. I heard that down there.
You know what you should do? I would Google the Sierra Sounds by Ron Moorhead and listen to it and see if that sounds like it, because that's probably what you heard. It's almost like samurai chatter. It sounds like Asian people muttering.
That's exactly it. Yeah. That's ain't that, man. I would like to go back down there, to be honest with you, but I live all the way in West Virginia. I'm up in Lincoln County, West Virginia. It's a long ways from me, but I wouldn't mind going back down there and checking the place out if it's still even there. You know how
That's
progress is.
20 years ago.
That's a while back.
Well, that's 25 years ago, about when we had that encounter in the woods there where you got scared.
Yes, we played in the woods after Dad wouldn't go, but we took something with us, a gun or a bow. We didn't go in the woods without some protection, did we, John?
Uh-uh.
And it ain't just Bigfoot either. You got mountain lions, cougar, bear, coyote, fox, maybe wolf. I mean, there's more in woods than just Bigfoot you got to worry about.
Yeah, I got treated by a bunch of dogs one time.
Dang.
Right.
Yep, sure did.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, that's my wife posting about that stuff. She has a little intuitive. Hey, Carlito. Let's see. So, what was I gonna say? There's the Ron Moorhead thing. You need to check that out. It's called the Sierra Sounds. You can Google, any Google search will pull it up, and it's probably a couple minutes long. But the sound that they're making, it's like it was actually a professional linguist person, like, did research on it, and they said it's an actual, it's language of two things talking back and forth to each other, and there's it's a vocal perception on that. It's pretty awesome. But what I was gonna say about
I know, man.
The tree knocks.
What do you?
Have you ever heard screams in the woods or anything like that?
In West Virginia.
No, I not really. Yeah, down here in West Virginia I have, but I don't know what it was or something like that. But
yeah, Bobcat.
We heard something up 9 Mile one night, Johnny. Remember that? We were sleeping that back there, and I come up off the ground, man. I don't know what it was.
Well, Grandma and Grandpa used to call it a Haney burger. You remember that?
Yeah, your grandma told the story. John said your grandma told a story about something she saw when she was.
Grandma.
Yes, you do.
Dad's mom. Grandma Nora.
Wow.
You remember that, Jeff? I can't hear him.
Yeah, she had by the creek eating a rabbit.
Yep.
What is it?
Yep, down around Rock Cliff, close to.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, yeah. She said it when she just called it a hairy man, didn't she?
Yeah, what they got? Wild man.
Wild man.
She didn't. I guess they didn't know. She didn't know what it was.
They didn't know what to call them back then.
Yeah, I believe
Now they didn't have no reason to lie. Them old people didn't. That was back in the early 1900s.
Yeah, they
I
had
don't
nothing. They had no stories to make up to tell bullshit to people that they had nothing to gain from it.
much.
They were kind
I
of
almost know that
warning what's out in the woods to be careful and all that. You know.
you
Yep.
got people out there that fake.
You're breaking up, Jeff. Repeat that.
Right, 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 right. I
You're-
gets me these people go around wanting to kill one of them. I don't know if I could do that.
I don't
They're
think I
too
would ever do that.
much like a human, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they are an ancient human in a way. I really do.
What is it?
I think they are an ancient
If
human.
people want to hunt them and try to kill them, I think they're too much like humans,
Yeah,
man.
me too. Me too.
I really do. I think
The
they're
Native Americans thought they were too, like an ancient race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They traded with them. You know. I
yeah.
mean, a lot.
Hmm.
You know, they would. They
I
had their
don't think
little.
I could kill one unless it was trying to hurt me. But then, I believe that there's supernatural too, though. I believe when you see Bigfoot, you'll see orbs.
Yeah. Yeah. You never heard a guy named Greg Yost, Squatch Man, out in Indiana.
Like that.
He has orbs. He has videos of orbs and Bigfoots, coinciding hand in hand, and they kind of just turn into orbs and disappear in the woods.
I, I believe that
They
because
know more than we do about the woods. I know that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And so did the old people.
if you,
That's what That
I watch this guy.
he's breaking up.
Breaking up, Jeff. You're breaking up bad. You might need to. Let me bring you out, and I'm going to bring you back in. Okay. Okay.
That's those hills down there.
You got that bad signal.
Yeah, he lives in the hills.
He's a Native American. He's out in the hills and beat on him. He got pictures, all kinds of.
Yeah, he's buffered. All right, I think you're clear now. Try it again. Go ahead, Jeff. Nope. Well, he dropped out. He must have a bad signal where he's at because he was buffering real bad. And I do appreciate your brother Jeff coming on. That was nice to hear from him and hear from what he, from firsthand from his mouth, what he experienced.
And Tom, I have not talked to him about that.
Really?
I didn't get a chance to even. I just told him that you might want to be interviewed doing him, and I didn't even really tell him which day.
Well, it was an honor.
There wasn't nothing rehearsed.
That wasn't rehearsed whatsoever. I mean, I wasn't even planning on having your brother on at all. I just sent him an invite to see, because you said you wanted to talk to him too as well. So I sent him an invite right before you came on when we did our little pre-interview around 10 minutes till we started till 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I sent him the invite. I wasn't expecting him to come on, and he came on. I was pretty surprised and I was impressed. So that's
I tell you what, I have a sister too that was there that saw that hand that we found. He was with me when I found it. I have a sister too that saw it, and she can tell you what it looked like too. But hey, they're all going to say the same thing because it's the truth. The truth, don't change.
No, when everyone sees one thing, they're going to explain. Y'all explain the same thing over and over to the best of your ability of what y'all saw when you was kids back in 1978 or when you was younger. And I mean, y'all stories matched up. And I wasn't even planning on having your brother come on at all, Peter. I mean, I was just sent him an invite, and It
Right.
kind of surprised me. So I was impressed that he was willing to talk to be interviewed. So I give your brother respect and appreciate him coming on. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He told you, he said just about the same thing I did. I mean, that we found a hairy hand and tangled in a fence, and about the size of my hand. And what else? What else is about that size? And in the middle of a national forest.
Yeah, and like you said, there are no monkey. There's no monkeys out there in Ohio and where that
What?
national forest. There ain't no
I've
monkeys
never
out
run into one yet.
there.
I've been hunting 50 years.
It could have been a devil monkey. Maybe it was a devil monkey.
I hope not.
That's another name for them. Some of those little, the little nasty looking. I can't think of how big they are, but there's a tail of devil monkeys and
It had
just a
it had
nasty.
black hair on it had black hair on its hand, but the hair that it was black on its hand and on its arm, but the hair on the hand was coarse.
Really. So it was
Yeah,
coarse hair. It wasn't like, you know, wasn't
it's like a
soft.
hog's hair
Yeah.
on the
Oh.
hand. Yeah, and I don't know no monkey that's got hog's hair on its hand. It was coarse.
Hmm. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
like
something.
it's that'd be like protection to keep its hand from getting scratched up as much. Is what I'm
Yes.
thinking.
A lot of people say these things run through briar patches like it's nothing. Well, maybe that extra layer of coarse hair gives it protection when they run through a briar patch.
It could be, but I'm telling you, and I have a stepdaughter that said she saw one running through briars and said it was going through them briars like they wasn't even there
Yeah.
down in West Virginia. I didn't believe her, until I started checking
You
the.
have you heard of them traveling through trees at all, Bigfoot?
Um, what you mean, like climbing through the trees?
Like traveling through the tree to get around to kind of space out, I guess. Um, they can kind of jump around and jump on this tree and kind of creep up on you and then jump on the next tree and you'll never see them because they're
I've,
behind the tree the whole time.
I've heard that, but I've never seen anything like that. Like I say, I've never seen a Sasquatch. I think I would like to see a Sasquatch as long as it wasn't trying to kill me or something.
Right. Yeah.
I'd like to
Same
see
here.
one,
Same
but I
here.
did find that hand, and I've seen all kinds of stuff in the woods that shouldn't be there. Rocks piled up. I've had rocks thrown in the creek on me, and and I didn't I didn't think of all that stuff until after I started watching these shows and getting in these groups. The groups are a good thing, I think, because they help you remember things that you forgot.
Yeah, that's true. Because or just listening to other people's encounters. Like when I first started getting into this, I listened to a lot of Sasquatch Chronicles. I got that little bumper design thing behind me. It says Sasquatch Chronicles. I've remember that
Yeah,
group since like 2015 with Wes Germer, and I listened to a lot of people's encounters. And a lot of them are people out west, and the majority when I was listening to a lot of those encounters were hunters, and I had
yeah. I don't.
of my story related to a lot of the stories I was hearing. So it helped me kind of cope with what I dealt with, when I was, dealing with that stuff.
And did you see one?
What I saw was the one in Canada. It was like 60, 70 yards away. We seen the silhouette of a body that was probably 10 foot tall from 60,
Wow.
70 yards away. And it was set back. And like, when you look back in a wood line and you see like an opening, like a little opening
Yeah,
patch, and it's
yeah.
dark because it's getting dark. Well, this thing filled that whole. You seen this body silhouette fill that whole opening up, and
Wow.
after about 5-10 seconds after we noticed what it was, and we knew it wasn't an animal because it was too damn big. That thing took off, and you felt boom 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 boom, and you felt the ground shaking, and not
Well,
too
just
long after
imagine how much one would weigh that's 10 foot tall.
yeah.
Probably 1,000 pounds at least.
1,000 pounds would be nothing, anywhere from 1,000 to 1,200 pounds, and we were so shooken up we weren't trying to look for footprints. I wasn't thinking Bigfoot. I was just thinking this thing is huge. We need to get the hell out of here. What's going to happen
Yeah.
to us? We're gonna die in the woods. We're in another country. We're not even near our home. Um, and then we got chased out of the woods by these, it sounded like army of those orc things from the Lord of the Rings. They were flanking us on the sides along
Really?
along the tree lines, and we were on a logging road waiting to get picked up. And these things are just making all kinds of noise, crashing through the woods, sounding like bulldozers going through. And finally, we seen the lights of the Suburban come to pick us up. And once we saw those lights, we were like, "Thank God, there's a Lord to save us."
Yeah. Right.
Pounds of a mag
Right.
ain't gonna do much when you got an army of these things coming at you.
Exactly.
You
Something
know?
that big man could just rip you to pieces.
Oh yeah,
And
I
if they
mean,
were going to harm anybody, we'd have heard of. I've heard tales, and I think that's exactly what they are, is tales. But
mhm.
I don't think they'll hurt the human.
No, I think they
I
want. I
think,
think they wanted us. Maybe we got too close, or maybe there's a young one nearby. But I think
oh,
they just
they'll
want.
they'll they'll run you out of their area or let you
They'll
know
run
they're
you out.
in there. Yeah, they'll run you out of their area. But I don't. I'm not. I just don't believe they'd hurt a human.
I
You
think
know.
if you do something to mess with them, I think they can retaliate.
Oh, they.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. Of
hurt
course
you.
they would.
If you
Yeah,
got the
yeah.
story of Ape Canyon that happened, with the gold miners back in Midwest California, up in the mountains area,
Well,
and
then
they
the
were shooting at these things, and they were throwing rocks on top of their cabin, and it was like an all night
mhm.
war of this going
And
on.
like the
So
Ballman story, like that
yeah,
Teddy Roosevelt was telling about. Yeah,
oh
yeah.
absolutely,
And one of the trappers got killed, but they were shooting at him, wasn't
yeah.
he?
I
Yeah.
mean, you got that. Then you have what's another? There's so many stories from way back when that were omitted or they don't talk about now. But like, what was he? Oh God, I can't think of the name, but it was Lafleur, the
Yeah.
Lafleur Native American from out west. I don't think it was Oklahoma or something, but they went after a pack of a tribe of Bigfoot, and because they were taking out, they were killing all the villagers. So they took a bunch
Yeah.
of what were the warriors, like the trained warriors went out in groups, went after these things, and they wind up you know, they were successful, but a lot of them got taken out by these things because they're so damn powerful.
Yeah. I heard they dug something about digging a hole and real deep and trapping one too.
Yeah. Oh, we got the Lovelock Caves too. They
Yeah.
trapped them into the caves, and they started burning the fire out, and the natives. That's what they did to take out the Sasquatch. The hairy man, that they just burned a fire by the cave, and all that smoke inhalation probably killed them all.
Yeah. I think they were called the red-haired giants.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I look all that up. I study a lot about the giants because there were giants here back in the day. They dug a lot of the mounds up and found a lot of giants in there.
Oh yeah. Well, the problem is they dug them up, but nobody knows where the bones went because they turned them into Smithsonian to find out what they are, and they lost them, or they say they lost them, but they want to probably put them in a bunker somewhere underground for safe holding.
Something. They were here. I believe that
And you have
because
all
of
those
the.
mounds. There's a lot of ancient native mounds out in Ohio by you where there was stuff
Oh
found.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I collect Native American artifacts. I, I used to hunt them all the time when I was younger.
You there?
Yeah, yeah. I'm here. Are you there? Something's going on.
We were buffering for a minute. I guess my internet got a little shabby. Can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
yeah. Mine was. It was okay on my end. I was fine.
Yeah,
I don't know.
like William Nighthawk says, they had bad ones just like humans. There's bad humans and there's bad
Exactly.
Sasquatch.
Yep, yep.
Majority of them are good, but you have your bad ones, the ones that they like to do nothing but seek trouble.
Yeah.
They kind of have that Johnny Ringo syndrome from Tombstone. They're just wound too tight, and they just like to start trouble no matter what. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I haven't run into one of them because, I have had the feeling of being watched. I know at least 3 or 4 times in the woods. One time it was in West Virginia, and I think I was close to something, and I know something was watching me. I just had that feeling. I mean, the strongest feeling. And then another time, there was a great big giant beech tree. Now, a lot of people don't know what a beech tree is, but I know you do. And the beech tree was hollow, and the beech tree you had to walk around it. You couldn't put your arms around it or anything. And you walk around it, and you couldn't be seen on the other side. It was that big, and
Yeah.
it was hollow, and I had the strongest. I kept watching that beech tree, and it looked like something was down in that beech tree, but I couldn't tell for sure. But it was some place that they could have hid or even slept because the beech tree was that big.
Yeah. Well, you've seen uprooted, didn't you say you seen like a tree that was upside down and turned back into the ground?
Well, my son found 2 of them like that. He said they were. It looked like it was placed like a walk, like for a doorway, and he thought it might be a burial spot. And I don't know why he would think that unless he found some dirt that was, you know,
Oh yeah.
or something like that. And he's found stacked rocks and structures, and he didn't think nothing about it either. And now, though, I haven't been back in the woods for about 5 years. But I want to go this fall. I'm going to go with my son and do some archery hunting. And I'm going to take a video camera and we're going to show you some stuff.
Nice. Well, they say the bow hunters are the majority of bow hunters are the ones that have these encounters because, believe it or not, bow hunters are the ones that go deep, deep in the woods, and you got to get
Yeah.
a good spot in a tree. You got to climb a tree or make a stand, and it's set back further than just somebody walking through a little, holler with a
Yeah.
shotgun trying to get a deer. Well, you bow hunt, you actually do put in work to get in that
Well, you
tree,
see,
climb a
you
stand.
see more animals in bow season than you do in gun season.
Oh yeah, yeah, and you're a silent killer because you got a bow. It doesn't make any
Yeah.
noise. You're above. You're 10 to 15 feet in the air, so
Yeah.
your scent is above everything, and nothing can really smell you. So you're good. You're
Right.
clear, and you're going to
Yeah.
see more animals in the woods.
Yep. Yep. You sure do.
You know.
And so you have a better chance of seeing a Sasquatch in that time of the year too, because usually bow season starts while the woods are still have leaves on the trees.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you're going
'cause-
to see you get a better chance of seeing a Sasquatch that way.
Yeah, because I normally when the bow hunters when I'm in the tree, it's early fall, so you still have that brownish orange tint to the leaves before they
Oh,
all
and here in
fall.
Ohio, they're still green.
Yeah, dang.
A lot of times, most of them are. Most of the trees are green because the season starts at the end of September here in Ohio.
Yeah, bow hunters are the ones that mostly come up. That's true. A bow hunter bow hunter was dragged out of his tent at the LBL. That's a true account of a bow hunter. You know where the LBL is, right, John?
No.
Land between the lakes in Kentucky and
Oh,
Tennessee.
okay. Okay, yeah.
There's all kinds of stories of accounts of Bigfoot dog man attacking humans, people
Well,
families getting mauled, killed in a campsite. I mean, it's bad.
yeah, the first place they saw that they can remember of reporting a Bigfoot was in Gallipolis, across the river. Gallipolis, Ohio, across the river from West Virginia.
Okay.
If you look that up, it's like I think it was in 1869 or something like that, or maybe even 1849. It was something like that. It was early in the 1800s. I think it might have been after the Civil War, but I think it was in that time frame. That's the first time they reported a grass man. and the girls, the man's daughter threw rocks at the thing to get it off from him because it had attacked him.
There's a really, really good story about these two guys. They're actually cousins, and I think they were fishing in Ohio. And the one guy thought someone was throwing rocks at him and his cousin on their boat from the woods, from the shore. So they throw rocks back in the woods, and this giant, 10, 11-foot Bigfoot comes out of the woods and slams the guy down, knocks the one guy, breaks the one cousin's ribs.
Shoot.
And they call a podcast. They do, like, the one guy does an interview for a podcast, and he says, the wildlife and game came out. They interrogate him, tell him not to open his mouth and not to talk about his encounter in the hospital. They said, tell him it was a bear and this. I mean, it was a crazy story. And I think from what I've heard from Lance, because he's the one that did the interview, Lance Hightower. He said, this guy's still getting harassed by the government today. They made his assets disappear. They made him lose his job. I mean, they really did a number on this guy for all he did was tell his story about what happened to him, that he just didn't want to lie about, what the heck what it did to him.
Right. Hey, I would like to see one, but I you never know. I might go down there and start walking around that old area. I even shot a deer one time with a muzzle loader. That reminds me. And I knocked it down. It was laying there kicking, it was dying. Then it got up and ran maybe 20 yards and simply disappeared.
Damn.
Now that's the truth. That there was a bunch of brush. There's a bunch of brush piles down there. There's a bunch of treetops cut off, and it went to the treetops. But now I climbed in those treetops looking for that deer and never could find it.
Wow.
I don't know what happened to it, but
that thing.
It's just a funny thing that deer just disappeared.
Yeah. Maybe maybe the Bigfoot can create portals. Maybe it made a portal and took that deer into the portal and had a free meal.
Who knows? But that deer disappeared, and I never did find it. And me and another guy looked for more than 3 hours. We looked the rest of the day. I shot it that morning.
You would have saw blood everywhere.
Yeah, I saw blood everywhere until it got to the treetops, and then there wasn't no blood. Just everything disappeared. Now that's the truth.
Okay.
I don't.
Well, you also said, we talked about, I talked to you about the deer that mysteriously had its neck snapped behind my backyard that I missed the day before, and then the next day after, it's laying underneath the tree with its neck snapped backwards.
Yeah.
And I drag it off to get it out of the way because the meat was spoiled and I couldn't do nothing with it. Day after that, I go back to check and make sure, see if it's still there. And it was like something picked that deer up and threw it on his shoulder and hauled it off and took it away. But you mentioned the gut piles. You say you
right. Did my brother mention those?
He did not. He might have, but he was cutting off. His signal was bad.
Yeah, well, them gut piles, we had gut piles where raccoons or foxes or whatever coyotes would drag pieces off. But then we'd have gut piles that just were not drug off. They were picked up.
Yeah, they were picked up with hands, big hands.
Yes, they were picked up.
Get a deer. A gut pile is not a small pile. A gut pile, when you got a big pile. Lungs.
That's at least what, 50 pounds?
Yeah, lungs, heart, gizzard, intestine. The insides, the whole insides of a deer, including its lungs, and it's just a big sack of just blood, guts, and nastiness. And if you hit it, you do a gut shot on a deer, it's pretty much spoiled meat. But if you get a good shot, like a lung shot or a heart shot, you can get this all out one shot and kind of scrape it around the inside with your hunting knife and gut it out. But when you leave that pile on the ground, some people will bury it a little bit. I just leave it on the ground, and I come back the next day, and that, as you mentioned before, the whole pile's gone. There's no drag marks. It's just like something picked it up and had a snap.
Exactly. Something picked it up. It didn't drag it off. Animals will drag it off. You'll see drag marks and blood where they've drug it. But something I'm telling you has picked the whole pile up and took off with it because it's gone, just gone,
Oh, absolutely.
disappeared, disappeared. That's just wild, you know. And I would think about that, you know. Now that you know that I've been in these groups and stuff, I think about things that has happened to me in the woods that I'd overlooked and didn't
Hmm.
want to really think about no Sasquatch doing it. You know,
Well, that's
I
the
didn't
thing with
even
that's the thing with groups. You know, you can learn a lot from groups, from other people's encounters, or listening to other encounters. It kind of like it'll make you remember things that you've seen or witnessed or encountered, and you'll be like you kind of put two and two together and be like, no, this was that. It wasn't actually. It wasn't nothing. It was something like I encountered that, and it was something serious. So you'll remember
right,
all.
right. And I just did, you know, I didn't think about it like that. I didn't want to think about it like that, but I would go back, you know, I'd go by the place where you know, you was allowed more than one deer there for a while, but you still are. And I would walk back to the same area that I shot the first deer because I knew it was a good spot.
Right.
And you know, the deer they don't pay any attention to them gut piles for some reason. They, you know, well they don't eat meat. You know, they might smell it and veer off, but I would walk back to the same area and that gut pile would be gone. No drag marks. Now I have seen drag marks, but a lot in that area, most in that area, the the it was gone. Everything was picked up and taken. I just don't know, man.
Oh
I
yeah.
do believe in Sasquatch though, because I found that hand.
Yeah,
If I
that
hadn't
hand.
found that hand, I would probably be a non-believer.
Yeah, and you found
Or
that
you
a
know,
long time ago before Bigfoot was even, it was as popular
yes,
as now people talk about. I mean, you found the hand of something that you couldn't explain, and your dad
right.
knew what it was because he told you to put that thing back because he didn't want his mama coming for
That's right. That's exactly what he told me. I'll never forget it. You can't forget something like that.
him.
It
And
sticks with you the rest of your life, you know.
meanwhile, out in Montana, Duke's got golf ball size hail out there in July. I mean, shoot, that cut your
Right?
damn expedition short out there. We got people out the chat. They live out in I'm sorry, Montana, and
Yeah.
they went to do some expedition recently, and it was like snowing almost golf ball size hail out in Montana in July. I mean, that's crazy, right, Duke?
Yeah. Yeah, that is crazy. Golf ball size.
I mean, not
I've
only
seen,
that, in July, the whole area he was out, we just got covered in hail and snow.
what how in the world did he hail especially? How did he cover himself to keep from getting hurt?
I think they stayed in their vehicle and they just hightailed it out of there.
Yeah,
You know?
I've seen they had a hailstorm here one time in Ohio, and it beat everybody's cars all up.
Wow.
People with brand new cars with
I've seen people take pool rafts and tie them to their windshields and their hoods on the top of their cars. Take them pool rafts when a hailstorm comes. They don't ruin their cars.
yeah, yeah,
Pool rafts tied to them. But it
yeah,
worked. Well, hey,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
dang.
yeah.
Well, we're getting ready to pack it in. It's been about an hour, and we did a good interview.
Okay,
I do appreciate you coming on
it,
and your
it was
brother coming on.
good meeting you, man. You've been my friend for quite a while on
Yeah.
Facebook.
Oh, absolutely. And
Good meeting you.
good meeting you. And like
Yeah,
I said,
yeah.
you're part of the
I went,
group. All the groups I'm
we're
in.
gonna get some. We're gonna go down. I'm gonna go down in the woods down there pretty soon because I've been talking to my son,
Mhm.
and you know he don't even want to go down in there.
Well, your son don't even want to talk about his encounters, right? You said he don't like talking about it.
No, he don't like. No, he's heard him whistle. He's found nests. Those two trees.
Hmm.
Different things he's heard and seen. He just don't. He's heard wood knocks. I heard a wood knock one morning before daylight
Dang,
down in West Virginia,
it's
and I've
live action.
also heard him howling down there, close to
Mm.
where my brother lives. Yep. But yeah, it's been a pleasure, man.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and if you ever want to get a, if you encounter more things, or your brother wants to come back on, y'all always welcome to come back in the future if you want to talk about more things. And
Okay.
there.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go down this fall, at least into Adams County. Hocking County is a little further east, but at least I'm going to go down to Adams County. There's a like a animal. What do you call it? Where you're not allowed to hunt there, but it borders private property,
Nature
and
preserve.
that's yeah, nature preserve. Yeah, I might go down in there if they allow me, but if they don't allow me, I don't go on anybody's property that they don't allow. But I'll see what I can do with that, and because that's close to where my son saw that nest, I think.
Dang.
Yeah.
We'll definitely do it again. And if you ever get some footage, if you want to share with me, I'll make sure it doesn't get posted anywhere wrong. Or if you want to share it in any of the groups that you're more than welcome to, and I'll make sure no one bothers you about it. No one gives you a hard time because we don't
No
do the
problem.
group.
Oh, I can take most of the gouging, but that one group I was in, that's all they're the people that was in it. I don't guess they really believed in Sasquatch because
Yeah.
they sure didn't believe my experience. But
Well, some people don't
it's
like
not
the.
a story, and I didn't make it up. It's not a tale. It's factual experience that I had.
Well, no one can take that away from you. You know what you experienced, just like I know
That's
what I
right.
experienced. No one can take that away from me. I know what I encountered, and it's just
Yep.
it is what it is. You got
Well,
to.
and yeah, and just like you had witnesses, and I have witnesses. Yep.
Mhm. Well, John, it was a pleasure having you on tonight, and we'll do this again sometime.
Okay,
Round up the
Tom.
family. We'll do it.
Yep.
Thanks again
That's
for coming
been,
on.
been a pleasure. Thank you.
All righty.
I'll talk to you later.
Good night,
Good night.
everybody. Monday night's going to be the new night we do the podcast. I'm just making it easier for not being burnt out during the weekend because my job, I work, pretty much all day long in the morning in the heat, fixing air conditioners. So this is kind of the easiest way to do a podcast where I can do it every week on a Monday night and not be burned out on Saturdays or have stuff coming up. So Monday night's going to be the new night, 8 p.m. Thanks everybody for the chat, everyone that showed up, and appreciate you all. We'll have a good